Is it warm in here or is it just me?
It's hot.
Okay.
Is it what?
Hot in here?
Yeah, I'm sweating. I was about to say that.
Yeah, I said it.
Also-
Well, I guess I have to say that I like your conversation.
Like what?
I like your conversation.
Oh. Yes, ma'am.
It's the analogy.
You can leave your laptop back there, yeah. Okay. Oh, also, just totally off topic right here. If you noticed over there, my screens are getting bigger and bigger holes in it. I don't think it's anybody in this class, but if it is you, please stop doing that, okay? I have a pretty good idea who it is. It's somebody in my last hour class, and that person that I think it is, sister is in this class right now. Anybody?
I know.
I bet you do!
I knew who it was before you even said the
Yeah,
last
I think it is.
because he literally has holes in his screen too because he just picks at it.
Well, there was a little hole there at the beginning of the year, and it got a little bigger and bigger. It's like, what, do you put your fist through it now? So it's like, anyhow. So,
Oh, dear
okay,
God.
so first off, we've been graphing rational functions, okay? And I want to make sure we understand. You're going to go, well, what's a rational function, okay? A rational function is real simple, okay? All it is a polynomial, which even that, you might go, polynomial, okay? You've been done with polynomials all year long, okay? A polynomial is just like 3x squared minus 9x plus 5. That's a polynomial, okay? A rational expression is a polynomial over a polynomial. That's a rational expression, okay? We've been graphing rational expressions. That's all it is, okay? A polynomial divided by a polynomial, okay? So today what we're going to be doing is multiplying and dividing and simplifying rational expressions, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, in this chapter, from this point forward, if you're not sure what to do, factor is almost always going to be the answer, okay? If you get stuck on a problem, factoring is never a bad idea, okay? So I think I said this previously this year. You know, not that I'm going to try to put him on the spot, but, you know, if I call on you and you're not sure what to do, if you say factor, you're going to be right most of the time, I think, okay? So let's look on 7.3, all right? And we're going to start out by simplifying some rational expressions. So we have the first one. We're just going to dive right in on question number 3. They give us, what was it, 2x squared, is that what that says?
Yeah.
2x squared over
3x
3x
squared
squared
minus 4x.
minus 4x, okay? Now, we're going to factor here, okay? Now, we can't factor the top, and there's a real simple reason why you can't factor the top. There's only one term, okay? A factor is what's common to each term. Well, there's only one term, it's 2x squared, so you can't do anything with that, okay? So you have 2x squared. Now, on bottom, we can factor. What goes into 3 and 4 besides 1? Well, nothing, okay? But we can take an x out. We can take an x out. So put an x, and then x times what gives you 3x squared? 3x. Minus x times what is 4x? 4. Okay? So we factored it. Now we want to simplify this thing. Okay? We want to simplify it. So here's what we're going to do, okay? We have this factor over this factor times this factor, okay? This right here, if I simply gave you off to the side here, I'm going to put 2x squared over x, okay? Let's put this on hold for a second here. You guys remember, if I gave you something like x to the 7th over x to the 3rd, that would be x to the 4th. Remember I told you guys something you really want to memorize is where are there more x's? There's more on top. How many more? 4 of them. That's x to the 4th. If I gave you x to the 12th over x to the 10th, that'd be x to the 2nd. There's 2 more x's on top. So that's x to the 1st, okay? So we have 2x squared over x to the 1st. I have a 2 on top. Where are there more x's? On top. How many more? 1. So that just simplifies to 2x. So over here, we can just simplify this to cross off this x and cross off one of these x's. And we're left with 2x over 3x minus 4. Okay? All we're doing is simplifying it, okay? Now, they ask you to do one more thing, okay? One more thing. And I really don't like the way the computer is set up for this particular thing. I'm going to say this very, very slowly and hopefully clearly. Okay? They also ask you to put any restrictions on this, okay? Are there any restrictions? Okay? So, if I give you something like this, we're not done with this question yet because we have to talk about the restrictions, okay? If I give you this right here, this is not a trick question, okay? What numbers can I plug in for x? What numbers can I add 1 to? Anything. You plug in whatever you want, okay? Now, if I give you this, so I can plug in 4, 8, 12, whatever. It doesn't matter. I can add 1 to any number, okay? Now, if I gave you this, this is all one function, okay? What numbers can I subtract 5 from? Just in general, what can I subtract 5 from? Any number, okay? So true or false, I can plug in whatever I want into this expression. Almost true. There's one number you're not allowed to plug in. Say it again. You're on the right track. Not 0. 0's okay. In this case, you actually aren't allowed to plug in 5. Because if I plug in 5, you get 0 on bottom. Okay? So there's a restriction there. You're not allowed to plug in 5. You can't. You can plug in whatever you want, except for 5. Okay? Now, if I give you this. Now this has 2 restrictions. I can't plug in 5, and I also can't plug in what? 10. Why? Makes 0? On bottom. That's important. Now, what if somebody says, well, you can't plug in -1? You get 0? You can have 0 on top. Okay? You just can't have 0 on bottom. There's 2 restrictions here. You're not allowed to plug in 5. You're not allowed to plug in 10. Okay? We talked about this yesterday. There's one more restriction. And I don't want to put anybody on this, but I mean, if you don't remember this from yesterday, listen carefully. This is something you got to know coming out of this class this year, okay? You should be able to figure this out in your head. What's the other restriction? What makes this 0? 7 over 3. Opposite over this, 7/3. Okay, you can't plug in 7/3, okay? Because you'd get 0 on bottom, okay? So, this is where it gets a little confusing. And let's try one more, okay? You've got to be able to get this down, guys. What's the other restriction now? Not 11, careful, not 11. -11 over 4. -11 fourths, okay? So, here's where I don't like the way the computer has it set up, okay? There's a restriction on bottom, okay? All you got to look at is the bottom, okay? What makes the bottom 0? 4 over 3. Now, you got to be careful here, okay? There's another restriction, okay? And you can write that down if you want. We're going to cross it out here in a second. Just go write it down. Just what we're getting at is this, okay? I'm not being critical of you as a class, but this is one that you should know. I mean, you should just know. It can't be 4/3. The computer kind of knows. Yes, ma'am. Same thing. Same thing. I would leave it as 4/3. If you want to make it 1 1/3, I don't
I
care.
didn't know if we had like simple.
Nope, nope. Well, I'm glad you said simplify. You're not simplifying it, okay? It's a different form, okay? And I think we talked about this way back at the beginning of the year. 4/3 is something called an improper fraction. That doesn't mean incorrect, okay? It's kind of like saying this. Don't look around because I'm making this up. Which is simpler to say? Half of you are guys, or half of you, or 50% of you are guys? Which is more simplified? Why?
It's easier to say. It's not technical. No.
Anybody disagree? I think it's the same. I disagree with you guys. It's the same thing. Now, if you're going, well, because what'd you say, half? Maybe you like fractions better than percents. Maybe that's your reason, which is okay. But it's tomato.
0.5, actually.
Okay, you say 0.5. Who's right? We all are. It's not really
correct. It's just
right. You might have a preference
yeah.
in your own feeling. She says 0.5. Okay, so we're all right.
Yeah.
I'm more right. Okay, so no, I'm just saying. So what I'm getting at though is that when you said 1 1/3, you're not simplifying it. You're just writing it in a different form. Okay. So what I'm getting at is this. This is what the computer makes this confusing in my opinion. Okay. We're still putting this on hold. I got to talk about one more thing here. Okay. If I give you this right here, x plus 1, x plus 2 over x plus 3, x plus 2. Okay, just watch on this one, okay? I'll say this really slowly, okay? So hopefully people understand this, okay? First off, could I simplify that at all? I have x plus 2, x plus 1, x plus 2 over x plus 3, x plus 2. Is there anything I could cross off? X plus 2. Why am I allowed to cross off the x plus 2s?
Because it's the same on top and bottom.
Top and bottom. Okay? Now what if this said x minus 2x plus 2? What can I cross off? Nothing. You get to cross anything, okay? So watch really, really carefully because the computer makes this confusing here, okay? They cross this off, okay? So we're left with x plus 1 over x plus 3. Are there any restrictions on this?
No.
Yeah. Can't be what? What?
Oh, okay.
Can't have -3, okay? Listen very, very carefully. Somebody's going to say it out loud, okay? When are you allowed to have 0 on bottom?
Never.
Never, ever, ever. Okay, you're never allowed to have 0 on bottom, okay? Keep that in mind. Say it one more time. You're never allowed to have 0 on bottom. Never. One word, never, okay? There's one more restriction on this. It can't be -2 either. Why can't it be -2?
Oh, because the x plus 2.
But we crossed it off.
It's still part of the problem.
So hang on a second. Did we just say a minute ago that you can have 0 on bottom as long as we cross it off? Is that what I said? I said one word. I said what?
Never.
Even if you cross it off. You can't. Just before we crossed it off, had we plugged it in, what would have happened? 0 on bottom, okay? So what I'm getting at is this. Yeah, it can't be 4/3. There's one more thing it can't be. Look at what we crossed off. It can't be what? It can't be 0, okay? Now, if you were looking on your computer screen, they only give you one slot to fill in. I really think you should put both of them. I really think that, okay? You might want to make a note to yourself here, okay?
There's 2 boxes.
Right, one's the answer and one's a restriction, okay? One's the answer, one's a restriction, but we have 2 restrictions, okay? What I was saying was the computer says you should know it can't be 4/3. You should know that, okay? So what I'm getting at is this right here, okay? Bless you. Just watch. Okay. If I gave you this right here, okay, I'm going to cancel these. The restriction is -3, and what's the other restriction?
We don't know, you did, right?
I didn't tell you it. Now, what could you say about that number since I crossed it off?
It's the same.
It's the same, but what's the number?
Um,
You don't know, okay? You don't know because I didn't show it to you, okay? So what I'm getting at is this. Since if you simply looked at this, could you plug this part right here? Could you plug in 0? Could you plug in 0 on this? Yeah, because you wouldn't get 0 on bottom. 3 times 0 is 0, -4, okay? So you have to look back at it, and it tells you that. So what they want is this. Even though you should have both restrictions, the restriction they want you to put in to get credit for it is the one that you crossed off, okay? This is why that makes it so confusing. You know what would make it a whole lot easier? Give me all the restrictions. Give me all of them. Should have had both of them, okay? The one they want is the one that you crossed off. Because again, what I'm getting at is this. If you simply looked at this, I simplified it, okay? What was there before? You don't know. You have to look back at that, okay? Same like right here, okay? You don't know what that other restriction was. Now, what's the restriction now? It can't be 7, okay? But you didn't know that, okay? Because if you didn't look at this, and you didn't look at it because you couldn't see it, it wasn't there, okay? So, long-winded explanation. What restriction do they want? The one that you crossed off. Okay, that's what they want. They should just have them both. I don't know why they don't just make them both. Okay?
So is it 0?
0.
Because there's only like 1 spot.
Right, that's right. That's why I've been talking the last 10 minutes about that. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they only give you, they should have 2. They really should, okay? So what I'm getting at is this. You should, the computer's saying you should know it can't be 4/3. You should know that, okay? But again, if you don't look at this, if that's all gone, based on this, can it be that? Hang on a second, look at this. Yellow? Uh-huh. Sure, it's right there. Get back. The girl's all dressed up today, needs to bring her laptop down. Look nice today. Special occasion?
It's the second homecoming.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right, so they need to bring your laptop down there?
Okay.
Okay, so, question.
On your test, is it gonna be?
I may not have any restrictions. If it was me, I would just say, give me all the restrictions. So what I'm spending all this time for you to get the right answer. Okay, it's like I want you to understand it. To me, it would have been so much easier. Just give me all the restrictions. Give me all of them. Okay, so that's what it is. You can't. You're not allowed to plug in 0. Yeah, I wouldn't lose too much sleep over it. I just want you to make sure you understand what it is there. Know how to get the right answer. Okay, let's do an easier one now. Okay, what's that?
Would it always be 0?
Well, let's keep watching. Short answer is no, okay? But let's keep watching. X squared minus 3x minus 18. X squared minus 3x minus 18 over what? X squared minus 7x plus 6. Minus 6 or plus 6? Plus 6. All right, any idea how we're going to start this? Factor. Okay. All right, is there a common factor on top? Can I take anything out of x squared, 3, and 18 besides 1? Out of x, can I take an x out of all of them?
No.
18 has no x. So we draw 2 sets of parentheses. X squared is x and x. And I know some of you still struggle with factoring. That's okay. What do we look at next, the middle term or the last term? How do you make a negative? Plus and a minus. And I said this back when I was teaching factoring, that if you know your times tables, it's easier. If you struggle with your times tables, it's tougher. Little trick, two numbers that times to this, add to that. Okay. 6, those add up to 9. Yeah, but 6 and 3 add up to 9. So what am I forgetting? You're on the right track.
Yeah, oh yeah,
What?
negative.
One of them has to be negative. Which one's negative? 6 or 3? 6 is negative? Why?
It's negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3.
Now, don't 2 and 9 times to 18 also? But they don't add up to negative 3, so that's the way. X plus 3 over x minus 6. Okay, on bottom, we can't take anything out of those. So we draw our two sets of parentheses, x and x. This one should be an easy one to factor. This one's so easy that sometimes students struggle with it. We look, now be careful, I'll still see students doing this. They'll see minus plus, and they'll put minus plus. It's not the way you do it. Why is it minus minus?
Because the 7 is a negative, but the 6 is positive.
Right, how do you make a positive? What times what?
Negative times negative.
Or?
Positive times
And why'd you choose negative times negative? Negative 7. And again, I told you way back when, if you memorize it, it makes this so much easier. I didn't say easy, but easier. How do you times to 6, add to 7? 6 and 1. Can we simplify this? Sure.
Can we take out the 6s?
That's not what it says. I'm being picky here. No, 6 ain't there.
X
X minus 6. I know that's what you meant. X minus 6, X minus 6. Okay? So, something else we have to talk about. If you're working ahead, please stop. We have x plus 3 over x minus 1. Very important concept you need to understand right now, okay? Do you see an x on top?
Yes.
Do you see an x on bottom? Can you cross them off? No, you cannot, and here's why. You can cross off factors. Factors mean what you times together. We're not timesing x by anything, we're doing what to it? Adding. We're not timesing x by anything, we're subtracting. You can't cross them off. When things are separated by pluses and minuses, if you see it on top and bottom, you can't cross them off. It only if you're timesing. If I give you this right here, can I cross off those 3's?
No,
No? Why?
because the boundary's not.
The top is times.
Right.
The bottom's not.
Do you see a 3 on top and bottom? Yeah, and we're only, if you're separated by pluses and minuses, you can't cross stuff off.
But
Okay?
that's timesing and dividing.
Yeah, you can cross it off.
What I'm saying is, on top, if you're adding or subtracting on top, or if you're adding and subtracting on bottom, you can't cancel stuff off.
So you can't.
So you can. And we know this, because what's 3 times 4? 12. 12 divided 3 is 4. Or just cross them off. Okay? Now, if I gave you this, can I cross the 3's off?
No.
Separate by pluses, okay? And I'll illustrate real quick here.
But it doesn't matter if it's a times.
Timesing's fine. What do parentheses mean? Timesing. Okay? It's if we're timesing, okay? If I gave you 6 over 5, would you agree, and don't think hard on this, okay? Would you agree that 6 is the same as 1 plus 5 over 5? Yeah, because 1 plus 5 is 6. Do you see a 5 on top and bottom? Can I cross them off?
No, because they just give.
I'd be left with 1. You may not know what 6 divided by 5 is, but you know it's what? It's not 1. Yeah, 1 and 1. It's not 1. Okay, it's not 1. So you can't do that because it's separated by a plus symbol. So you can cross things off if it's separated by timesing, okay? All right, that's an important concept. All right. Are there any, hopefully after a couple of these examples, you guys will get what the computer's trying to have you do here, okay? Are there any restrictions on the final answer?
Yeah.
What can't x be?
6.
1. Well, 6 is okay. Well, hang on the final answer. That's the final answer first. How come it can't be 1?
Because 1 minus 1 is 0.
So?
0 can't be on bottom.
Can't have 0 on bottom. So it can't be 1. Are there any other restrictions anywhere else?
Plus 6.
6. The computer only has 1 box. Which one do they want?
6.
Why?
It's the one you crossed out.
It's the one you crossed off. What do I think you should put? Both. Okay? They just want the one you crossed off. Okay? Now, I want to make sure you understand. Okay? We're not solving anything here. You can't solve these. I can't. Nobody can solve these. Okay? If I give you something like this, nobody here, myself included, nobody can solve that. If you're going, I can, it's 5x. You didn't solve it. You simplified it, okay? You didn't solve it though, okay? You can't solve these because it wasn't an equation. I might say, well, that's an equation. I put that in there. If you look at the original problem, that's what the problem said. There's no equal sign. You didn't solve it. We simplified it. We're not finding out what x is. I mean, it's like this right here. What's x?
We don't know.
I don't know. Now if I give you this, can you solve that?
9.
I hope so. It's 9. If you don't know it's 9, have fun next year in trig. I mean, 9 plus 1 is 10. Okay, you're not solving this. We're just simplifying it, and we're saying, what are you allowed to plug in for x? You can plug in whatever you want, except for 1 or 6. But we're only going to put 6. All right, let's try another one. 7. Not 7. 5. The next one's 6. Number 11. Number 11. Number 11. So we have 4xy3. Oh, that was terrible. Over what? X squared y times what? Y over 8x. Y over 8x. Okay, we got to go back to middle school here for a second. If I gave you this, no calculators, you should be able to do that in your head. 2/3 times 5/7.
Let's do 3 times 5, 2 times
Be 10/21. How did I do that in 4 words?
cross and multiply.
Ooh, I didn't cross. No, where'd 10 come from? First 2 words are times tops. Well, the last 2 words, times bottoms. That's all you got to do. If you're sitting there going, I thought you had to get a common denominator and stuff. That's when you're adding or subtracting fractions. When you're multiplying fractions, times tops, times bottoms, okay? That's all you do. If you're sitting there going, I thought you were supposed to like diagonally times something like that. Trust, okay? If it was 2/3 equals 5 over x, that's where you cross multiply and divide, okay? We're timesing fractions, okay? So, let's times the tops, then let's times the bottoms, okay? And this section has some tough questions on it, tough questions. There's going to be questions on your next test, or last test, like this. There's some tough questions in this section. I think this is an easy one. I really do. There's some tougher ones. I don't understand. Every year, there's a handful of students that struggle with this question. I think it's easy, okay? Times your top, so it's 4x, y3 times y1. 4x, y4, because when you times, you do what with your exponents? Add them, okay? Over, what's x squared y times 8x? We always put the number first. 8, x3, y, okay? Tell you what, I'm going to show you why I think this is easy. I'm going to ask you a question without saying a word. 1/2. 4/8 is 1/2. So you know what you should do next? Draw a fraction bar and put a 1 over a 2. Okay? Now, there's a 1 on this x. I want to hear somebody ask the questions. These are two questions, and I've already said them today. 2 questions you have to ask yourself. Look at the x's. What's the first question? Where are there more? You've got to be able to ask this on your own when you take a test. Where are there more? What's the second question? How many more? Okay? Where are there more x's? So where am I going to put an x at? On the bottom, because there's more of them there. 2 more. The y's?
4 on top.
How many more?
3.
So again, I want to make sure you understand. I put y and I put the number of them on top. Not the number of them, the number more. The computer might not like part of that answer. What do you think the computer might not like? Just put y3. If you write this on a test, is it okay? On a written test? Yeah. I think that's an easy one. I don't know. But every year, there's a handful of students that struggle with that one. You're just timesing straight across and then simplifying it.
Then what would be the other answer? It says I put y over 3 over 2, and then there's y, and then equals.
Oh, that's restrictions again?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Hang on. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Look back here before we simplified it. Okay? What are there? Can I plug in whatever I want for x or y? There's one thing I can't plug in for x. 0. So what's 0 cubed? 0. And what can I plug in for y? 0. So x can't be 0, and y can't be 0. They only give you one box though again. Madison, you asked this earlier. I'm going to say it right now. You guys don't need to worry about restrictions on the test. You don't have to worry about them. I'm not going to ask you for restrictions. I'm going to say simplify it. Don't worry about the restrictions at all. Okay? They only give you one box.
Zero's only one
So which one is it they want you to put?
Zero.
Which one though?
The one you look
Oh, they give it to you. They give you the y equals, okay? The reason is you cancel off the y's. Because how do you know we cancel off the y's? Look at it. Look at this. Look at that. How can you tell they canceled off the y's? There's no y. It went away. Okay? Y can't be 0. All right. They take this section that's kind of complicated and make it even more complicated. Jeez. That's why you don't need to worry about restrictions on the test. Okay. Let's look at number 13. Find the product. X squared, x minus 4. Over what? X minus 3 times what? X minus 3. Okay, you guys like this one. This one's easier. X minus 3, x plus 6. X minus 6 plus 6. Plus 6. Over x to the third, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Not making fun here, okay? Just want to highlight something. This one's quite a bit easier because how do we factor this? You know how we factor this thing? It's sort of a trick question. How do you know that? What'd you say? Parentheses, that's what I was looking for. There's parentheses, it's already factored for you. It's already factored, okay? So, what's this? What's trash times garbage times Mr. Kale? Who said that? Is that a synonym for garbage and trash? Who said that? Did you say that back there? Oh, man. Oh, you got one coming your way, man. Okay. Trash times garbage times Mr. Kale times Connor.
I don't know.
Okay? It's going to be this times this times this times this. Let's just write x squared, x minus 4, times x minus 3, times x plus 6. Okay? Over, what's x minus 3 times x3? X minus 3 times x3. Okay? How do we simplify that?
X minus 3 and x minus 3, cross it out.
Why can we cross off the x plus 6?
No,
Why can we cross off the x minus 3s?
because there's one on the bottom and it's on the top.
Okay.
And they're multiplication and not just adding. and
There you go.
subtracting.
Now, one more thing we can cancel off. Look at x2 over x3. We're timesing x2 over x3. We just did it over there. What can we say about the x's?
X6, oh.
No. There's x2 on top.
X1.
X2, where are there more x's?
I'm about
How many more?
1.
So cross out both of these and left with one of those. So we're left with x minus 4
Over x.
plus x, well, x plus 6 over x. Now, what are the restrictions on the final answer? There's one thing. 0. Can't be 0. Are there any restrictions anywhere else?
3.
Right. Which one does the computer want?
3.
0, 3. Why?
Because it would be
That's the one we crossed off.
This is so fun.
If I made you do this on a test, which one do you think I wanted to put? Both. It's so much easier. Just put both of them. 15. Okay. Okay, x squared. Hope you're you're up here on this also. It's okay, because I know you know the answer here. X squared minus 3x. Think back to what you said a couple minutes ago. X minus 2 times x squared plus x minus 6. X squared plus x. I'm not going to make you do the whole problem. I'm just looking for
Over
one.
x.
Over x? Okay. Hope, while you're copying this down, is this easier or tougher than the one we just did?
Tougher, because it's not.
You agree with her? Tougher? Look at this one. Look at that one.
Oh, is it the same?
Oh, no. It's tougher. Why?
It's not factoring, right?
It is or isn't? Why not?
There's no parentheses.
There's no parentheses. You like factoring? Nobody likes factoring, okay? So that's why it's tougher. It's not factored, ain't no parentheses, okay? All right. I'm sorry, Chelsea. Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
that's what I was gonna
So what do we do if it ain't factored?
Okay.
Factor it. How can I factor the top? Is there anything that goes into x squared and 3x? Can we take an x out of both of them?
Yeah.
X times x times 3. X minus 2, that doesn't factor. Times, and the bottom doesn't factor, it's just x. Okay. All right. On top
X.
here, x and x. Then we look at our last term, it's a negative
Positive,
times a
negative.
negative. How do you times to negative 6, but add to positive 1?
Two,
Which one's negative?
negative two.
-2 and positive 3. Now, here's the thing. I did this on the last one. I'm not going to do it because it's kind of like a wasted step. If I take trash times garbage times KO times Connor, we get trash, garbage, KO, Connor. I'm not going to write that all out. I mean, just look at it. And then look at, it'd be this times this times this times this over this times this. What could I cross off?
Oh wait, it's not parentheses.
Well, here's the deal. Parentheses means times. I can put parentheses on that. That's fine.
Well, I was gonna say that x minus 2, but there's no parentheses.
Well, it's kind of like this. You could, if I do this right here, okay? If I give you 3x plus 2x.
Oh wait, actually, just kidding.
If I put parentheses around everything,
No, just kidding, because you're timesing the x2 and the x, so there would be parentheses.
right? What I'm getting at is this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you guys in groups, okay? I'm gonna organize you guys in groups, okay? Okay, here's the group. All of you. What did I just do?
No.
Nothing. If I take everybody and put them all in the same group, I didn't do anything, okay? So if I put parentheses around this x minus 2, it doesn't change it.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, so cross out the x minus 2 on the top and the bottom.
Keep looking.
Give me a second. And the x and the x.
So we're left with x minus 3 times x plus 3. Now, if this was an x plus 3 and an x plus 3, could I cross them off? If they're both x plus 3s.
No, because one's on the, or they're both on the top.
Good. They're the same, but what'd you say?
They're both
They're both
on
on top. What if they're both on bottom? Bless you.
No.
Then no. They can't just be the same. They gotta be the same, but one on top, one on bottom. All right. There's two restrictions. There should be 2 boxes, are there? 2. Okay. What can't x be? Positive. Oh, no. Positive 3 is okay. We can have 0 on top. I'll tell you what. On the final answer, what are the restrictions on the final answer? I'm gonna make this a fraction over what? Over 1. What are restrictions on the final answer?
3 and negative 3.
No. You can have 0 on top.
No restriction.
There is-
Why?
Because you can add
There's
any.
no X.
There's no x on bottom. There are no restrictions on the final answer. Are there restrictions elsewhere though? 2 and 0. Which one do we put? And don't say both because there's 2 boxes. We're saying both because which one did we cross off? Both. Okay. Okay, 17. Let's do one more, then we'll call it a day. 17. All right. So we have x squared plus 3x minus 4. X squared plus 3x minus 4. X squared plus 3x minus 4 over x squared plus 4x plus 4 times 2x squared plus 4x over x squared minus 4x plus 3. Okay, while you're copying it down, I see an x squared here, I see an x squared here. I see, you said a minute ago, I see something that's the same, that's on top and on bottom. I can cross them off. So can I cross off these x squareds? No. Good. Why?
They're being added.
It's separated by adding or subtracting, okay? If there were parentheses right here, not cross them out, okay? But you can't cancel things with separated by pluses or minuses, okay? So what are we going to do? Factor. 2 sets of parentheses. X squared is x and x. Last term's negative.
Negative and positive.
Negative, positive. And how do you times to get negative 4? But add to positive 3.
4 times.
Which one's negative?
4.
Negative 4 and positive 1? What do those add up to?
No, that's not negative.
The other way around? So what's negative 4? I'm sorry, negative 1 and positive 4 add up to?
3.
3. This one's an easy one. X squared is x and x. How do you times, there's no negatives. How do you times to 4 and add to 4? 2 times what?
2.
Okay. Times. All right. Could I factor something out of the top here?
Yeah.
What?
2x.
A 2x. Times what is 2x squared?
X.
X plus 2 times 2x is 4x. And then the bottom one,
How can you
2 sets of parentheses.
How can you, oh, never mind.
You sure?
Yeah. I see
Okay.
now.
X-
Positive and positive.
Slow down. X and x. Now, why do you say positive, positive?
Oh, just kidding, negative, positive, wait, yeah, negative, positive, nope.
Okay.
Nope.
I think you've been right. You said everything.
Positive,
Do you look at the middle or the last?
the last,
How do you make a positive?
positive and positive.
Or?
Negative and negative.
Which is it?
Negative and negative.
Why?
Because it's a negative 4.
And there's only one way to times to 3.
Oh my God,
Yes.
this lows for
How many times do you get 3? Only one way.
1 times 3.
And is 1 and 3 going to work?
Yeah.
Because they also what?
Add -4.
Does this help much?
Yeah.
Helps a boatload.
What is
Lots.
Yeah, 'cause you gotta
Talk to
cross
me.
all the way
the, we
across.
can cross out x6 too, but it doesn't matter which one it is.
Let me ask you this. Can I cross off this and both of them? No. Which one? It doesn't
Does not
matter.
matter.
It really doesn't matter. But you can't. The only way I could cross off 2 of these here is if there were 2 of them up here, and there's not. So it doesn't matter which one. Keep looking.
X minus 1 on top of it.
That's it.
That's it. So we're left with, I'm going to put the 2x first. So 2x times x plus 4 over x plus 2 times x minus 3. Okay. What are the restrictions on the final answer? On the final answer, what are you not allowed to plug in on? If you're only looking at this,
-2 and positive.
it can't be -2 or +3. Okay? But those aren't the ones they want. They want the ones you crossed off. Okay? 1 and -2. So 1 and -2. It can't be 1 or -2. You can't plug in either one of them. 1 or -2. Okay? I'm going to state the obvious right here. I'm not rubbing anybody's nose in it, but how do you do these problems if you don't know how to factor? You can't. You've got to be able to factor. And I know there's lots of students that struggle with this. I know that. Okay? It's just something you've got to be able to do when you get out of this class. Okay? The more you do, the better you get at it. Question.
There's only one box for restriction.
For which one? 17? Oh, I'm at 27. Like, that's even close.
It's 1.
They have just one. Why did they not include? Oh. Again, yeah, we crossed it off, but yeah, it's still there because there was 2 of them. Just put 1. I'm going to answer Madison's question one more time. You guys going to worry about restrictions on the exam?
No.
You know how many questions I'm going to ask you what the restrictions are? None. I mean, it's just, I think you guys get it. It's just trying to guess what the computer wants you to put. So, all right. So just 1. All right, we're done for today.